For many centuries now, the second Sunday of Lent has always been the Sunday of the Transfiguration, when the gospel of the Lord's transfiguration is proclaimed. And this goes back to the ancient church. And the reason is the same reason that Jesus had for being transfigured before three of his apostles in the first place. And that was to prepare them for the dismaying event of his suffering and humiliating death. He was trying to reassure them that everything they had come to believe in about him was actually true. And so for a brief instant, he allowed the glory of his divinity to shine through his humanity. And he revealed himself truly as God's Son. Now, one question that comes up here is, why just the three apostles? Why just Peter, James, and John? Well, one of the reasons is the scripture emphasizes that these three were particularly hard-headed when it came to understanding what Jesus was all about. Peter did not want to hear anything about suffering and death. And when Jesus talked the first time about his death, Peter presumed to correct him. This was right after Jesus had said to Peter, "You are the rock on which I will build my church." And a few minutes later, he's turning to Peter and he says, "Get behind me, you Satan." Well, Jesus kind of a mercurial personality, wasn't he? You know, one minute he's complimenting and the next minute he's calling him Satan. No, because Jesus is compliment, and he tells why he is complimenting Peter. "No mere man has revealed to you that I am the Messiah, but my Father in heaven, and you believed him." And then when he turns around and reprimands Peter, it is because what you are saying does not come from God, but comes from your own little head on what's right and wrong and proper and improper. James and John, on the other hand, were the throne boys. Mama had come to Jesus, typical, delightful Jewish mother, had come to Jesus and said, "I want to make provision for my boys. When you come into your kingdom, I want one of my boys sitting on your right on a throne and the other boy sitting on your left on a throne. Can you do that for me?" And Jesus says, "Can you guys suffer, drink from the cup that I am to drink from?" And they enthusiastically said, "Oh yeah, we can drink anything." "Sure you can." And Jesus says, "Well, from the cup I will drink, from the suffering I will endure, you will have a share in that. But giving you the right to sit on my right and my left is reserved for those whom my Father has chosen." And so these three apostles, Scripture tells us, were particularly hard-headed. So that may have been the reason that Jesus chose those three. Aside from the fact that those three were to have very, very prominent roles in the church after Jesus' ascension. Peter was to become the first bishop of Rome. St. James was the bishop of Jerusalem and the head of the Jerusalem Jewish community, Jewish Christian community. And St. John was to author many of the writings of the New Testament, namely the Gospel of John, the book of Revelation, and the three letters of John. So a large part of the New Testament was written by St. John. So these three were going to have particularly key roles. And so Jesus wanted to work with them to show them that their faith in him was not misplaced. By the same token, the Lord is saying pretty much the same thing to us. He says, "You know, you guys, You've gone through 1 week of Lent, and some of you are probably already tired. You're already kind of discouraged because you haven't accomplished all the goals you originally set out for yourselves in Lent. And he's saying to us, don't get discouraged. The vision is still there. Easter will soon come. Carry on. Don't be discouraged. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. The other thing, of course, we have to do when we listen to the gospel of the Transfiguration is look at the figure of Peter. Poor, old, wonderful, dull-witted Peter, who, as the first pope to be, enunciates two great principles of Catholic life. First principle, when in doubt, talk. So he starts babbling. Oh, Lord, it's good that we're here. You know, you've just given us this beautiful. It's good that we're here with you. And would you like us to do something? And then he enunciates the second great principle of Catholic life. When in doubt, build. Apologies to Father Roland. But, you know, we have to do something. We have to do something. And that sets the stage for the one command that God the Father ever gives in the New Testament. And what's that command? This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. Listen to him. Peter, shut up with the talk. Peter, shut up with the building plans. You don't have to do anything. Just listen to my Son. And that's the same thing he says to us. You know? Because we are very much like Peter, aren't we? Oh, it's Lent. Oh, I have to do something. Oh, I have to give this up. Oh, I have to give that up. Oh, I have to say 10 times extra prayers. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. What is God saying to us? Shut up. You don't have to do anything. Listen. The most important thing we can do in Lent is listen. You know, we have these magnificent readings all through Lent, through the weekdays of Lent, through the Sundays of Lent, magnificent readings. Readings we've heard 100 times before. And what are we tempted to do, being the good human beings we are? As soon as we hear the opening words, Jesus took his 3 disciples and went up the mountain, we register, oh, I know that one. I've heard that one before. That's the Transfiguration. And we shut off. No. No. God is speaking to us each and every time the scriptures are proclaimed. And each and every time, for each and every one of us, he is trying to get a message to us. And the message he gives to me is not necessarily the same message he's going to give to you. But he tries to speak to us. This is why it is so important, and I've always made, except for this year, if you've noticed, I've always made a big deal about people coming in late for Mass. We had a couple tonight that did it. They're halfway through the readings. They come in and it takes some time to get adjusted, so they're probably not even listening to the gospel. When the whole first part of the Mass, we are supposed to be listening. God is doing the action. God is doing the talking. But we have to dispose ourselves to listen. And if I'm rushing in late for Mass, if I miss the first reading entirely, and I'm halfway through the second reading, I'm not paying the least bit of attention because I'm looking for where I'm going to sit. No. That's not the way it should be. We should come to church disposing ourselves to be open to God, to listen to God, to be obedient to the one command that God the Father ever gave. This is my Son. Listen to him. Got it? You sure? Then don't come late again. Thank you.